critical mass of battlecruisers here. Once he gets out 5 to 7, it's going to be very difficult to take down with the few stalkers that Minigun has. Possibly like to see a, wow, don't want to see that. Needs to actually kill off some of these probes so he can get a bigger army. As we see, is at 179 versus 166, but 109 harvesters, so he needs to use this warp prism to spread these probes out. He's going to do just that. Still has probes in the main and the natural, or at least in the natural, that are not doing anything. And I do believe that he has a observer here. I see a flicker of red, so he's going to be able to see the entire army of Drewbie. Drewbie needs to get a Raven or a turret up here, so he needs to deny the scouting of Minigun. Minigun's going to be able to see this drop incoming, perhaps warping in a few units. Wow, look at the, not really sure what the probes are doing. Looks like they were following another probe, perhaps. So we do have a drop coming in here. Drewbie doing a good job dropping away from the buildings. So he's going to be able to come in with his full army and possibly trying to take down this photon cannon, but the Marines in the medevacs just so weak against the storms. Minigun did a good job of spreading out the High Templar, and he's going to be able to take down that drop quite easily. If you look at the army tab, 6,200 to 4,200 right now in favor of Drewbie, and he does have these battlecruisers out on the field, 3 of them right now, working on just more ghosts at the moment. And we look at both players at 190, actually 198 versus 189. But again, this harvesters, I'm going to keep harping on that. We have a very interesting upgrade from Drewbie at this point. He did research the plus armor for the Terran buildings, so they are going to make the bunkers a little bit more powerful here. Hardly ever see that research, but in a long game, I suppose that it could be used. And both players need to really push out here. I think they're going to try to play it Zerg-wise, or Zerg style, where they get a max army, then get enough minerals and production structures to be able to reinforce quickly. So we see a scouting SCV coming in for Drewbie there. Probes are going to scout and suicide here, and that's a smart move by Minigun. He should have done that a little bit earlier, trying to lower the probe numbers. We see he's about to be actually on 95, so 14 probes down. That's another 7 gateway units he can warp in. And now Drewbie going to do the same, so tit for tat here. We do see Drewbie is at 57 workers right now, and he's going to lose all of these workers. Both players mined out of multiple bases, so it looks like Drewbie, if we have the income tab, 1,800, 1,900 minerals per minute off this one island expansion. And we see a drop at the island expansion for Minigun, but it looks like he was prepared for that. He did have a High Templar and a few Archon Zealots there as well. So now transferring all these probes, both players just working off very few mineral patches at this point. Attacking this Archon, don't really understand that. He could have just picked it up with the warp prism. But again, both players dealing with insane resources right now. 4,100 and 2,300 for Minigun, and 2,700 and 750 for Drewbie. And at this point, they both have max army, and they really need to kind of tailor their army to counter what the other player's going for. Minigun says, "Don't worry, that's Halo." I do not believe he has a Stargate and a the capability to make. Oh no, he does. There's the mothership. So Drewbie laughs, and it looks like we have a few observers in this game as well. So Drewbie does a scan there, sees that mothership. So he's gonna have to. Looks like we have a lot of ghosts coming in here with EMPs, lowering the shields of the Protoss player. And now we're going to have a lot of Yamato guns on that mothership, taken down so easily. He does need to siege up these siege tanks, as we have storms going off on the Marines and the Marauders. And checking out the production tab, Drewbie is not macroing right now, so he is at 130 of 200. Needs to start macroing up. As he pushes out here, we do see Minigun is just warping in off of these warp prism, or off these warp gates, or at least he should be. Not really sure what he's doing here. All these warp gates in the main are able to be used, and we've already discussed he's got about 19, 20 warp gates on the map, and he's going to do that right now. So both players have to watch their units lost here, because after the minerals from the islands are gone, there's not going to be much left. So every loss at this point is very important. You want to try to use the minerals, as we do see that Minigun has quite the lead. Does have 4,000 minerals in the bank, as well as 2 mining bases, compared to Drewbie just has the 1 mining base and a few minerals scattered everywhere. So Drewbie's going to have to be careful here, but he does have the units to really do damage to Minigun at this point. The tanks are going to be so powerful. Looks like we have a few SCVs coming as well, perhaps to repair, perhaps to act as tanks for the damage in the upcoming battle here. Fook, the army tab, 7,000 compared to the 3,200 for Minigun. So Drewbie could perhaps move out or at least siege up, take this tower, make troop movement for Minigun very difficult. Fook, the income for both players, 2,200. So the mules of Drewbie are just going to work on this island expansion. And the 2 bases of Minigun are not even able to keep up, especially with the super saturation. You'd think he'd be able to. Almost 2 pages of workers on those 8 minerals, and now we see more suiciding probes. So Drewbie, I'd really think he should push out here and try to establish a better forward position. If we look at the production tab, he's got more medevacs and tanks on the way. It looks like Immortals are coming out for Minigun, so you're going to try to lessen the tank numbers with these Immortals, but Immortals in the late game are just not very good because they only have that 5 range. They are not able to get close to the tanks with the very long 13 range I believe they have when they are in siege mode, as long as they have somebody spotting for them. So now Drewbie going to move up here, laying a number of scans. We do have feedbacks going off on the battlecruisers, and a bit of a split army. Drewbie going to siege up in the back here. So many tanks, about 14 tanks. Going to be able to almost one-shot these Colossus. Now we have a number of Banshees taking down all of the Stalkers. The Stalkers were able to lessen the numbers of battlecruisers, able to take them all down, but so many tanks here, as we see Drewbie now pressing forward into the base of Minigun. If we look at the army tab, Minigun just 900. All he has is storms, and if you can micro out of these storms, the Archons are not going to be able to do much. So if we look at the resource tab, Minigun's still very high on the resource. Checking out APM, 130 for Drewbie, 100 for Minigun, and now the siege has begun. He's not going to be able to get anywhere close. He does have sight of the high ground, so anything that comes up here is going to be taken down very quickly by the tanks. And this might have to be GG for Minigun. I'm not sure he's going to be able to amass any sort of army which is going to be able to get out of this. I want to say perhaps if he had some Void Rays and Carriers he could take this down, as we see a number of Zealots, Charge Lots able to close the distance between the tanks very quickly, taking down 4 or 5 tanks in fact, and we see a Storm going down as well. So lessening the numbers of tanks that Drewbie has. We see more Immortals coming out, so both players do have a lot of resources they can dump. So if we see more Charge Lots and the Immortals come out, they could take down the Siege Tanks. Siege Tanks are not in siege mode right now. See probes coming out. Sort of a disjointed attack. The probes should be moving in with the Immortals and the Zealots, but instead they're going to attack all by their lonesome, taken down quickly by the Siege Tanks, now at 3-1. If we look at the production tab, it looks like both players still trying to macro up, so we see 8 Marauders and 3 Marines coming out. Checking out the units lost tab, it looks like 68,000 resources lost for Minigun, compared to the 58,000 for Drewbie. Drewbie almost all mined out at the island expansion. It looks like he has a drop going on at this island expansion for Minigun, trying to focus down these units before they come in. The Zealots should be able to take care of these Marauders, but nothing to take down this Banshee. In fact, the 2 Stalkers are going to be able to do that. If they blink forward, they could take down that medevac, but Drewbie not going to worry as he is pushing in. There aren't many mining bases for Minigun, so if he's able to take down that mining, or the top expansion, it's going to have to be GG. Not really sure why Minigun's staying in here this long, but was not able to take on those tanks of Drewbie. Possibly could have gotten out a few Void Rays, maybe even Carriers this late into the game. Does have quite a few Immortals, but again, they just cannot get into that range 5. All those tanks able to take them down quickly, especially if you have Viking, Banshee, and Battlecruiser support. So Drewbie using all the techs. He has Ghosts out, he's got everything I think but Thors he used in this game. And then Minigun cut out that mothership, but it was quickly taken down by the great Yamatos from the battlecruisers there. Now we see a mass drop coming in for Drewbie, going to end it right here. These 2 Zealots not going to know what hit them. The rookie Zealots with 1 kill and 0 kills, taking down. At least it didn't hurt for too long. And Drewbie is going to be able to clean up this expansion. Looks like we have another skirmish here as Minigun has pushed out with a large army, going to try to take down the reinforcing units of Drewbie, but he is going to be able to siege up, trying to force or focus down these Immortals. Again, the Immortals taking reduced damage until their shields are gone, but the Immortals just plowing through those tanks, doing 65 damage to armored. But Minigun is on no mining bases right now, and there's quite a bit of army for Drewbie, 3,800 compared to the 1,800, and very limited. One battlecruiser right now could win the game. No production for either player. Drewbie does have 1,600 minerals, so he can get something out at this point. Minigun does have the warp prism here, but really has no minerals to start warping in anything. And the Zealot's working on a few starports, not really going to matter. See another drop and good siege from Drewbie, trying to outmaneuver the army of Minigun, and the siege tanks are going to be able to take down the Immortals coming up the ramp. So both players, very interesting macro game. Got on multiple bases and really split the map in half. Drewbie using the bunkers here with reinforced armor as well as the siege tanks, and eventually able to press forward and get in a good siege position. I think that Minigun made a lot of mistakes early on, possibly could have ended it if he did have a larger army and some more Colossus and push against Drewbie. He was all the way in Drewbie's base here, but if he had another 30 supply worth of army instead of probes, or if he brought 50 probes with him, he might have been able to push through against the reinforcing units of Drewbie. But instead became quite a long game, and Drewbie was able to take it in the end. So thanks for watching this one. It was quite exciting and difficult to cast all this action over about 45 minutes. If you're looking for more StarCraft 2 action, check out my channel, matronstarcraft at youtube.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.